Tom here, Flip Anything. Got about a 20-minute drive, so thought I'd take advantage of the time. So I hadn't totally talked about contracts. Been doing some bird dogging, which I've taken you on some of those little trips. Of course, the last deal worked out pretty good. Landed that lake house, which is actually where I'm heading right now. We're just doing some texture, some blow-in texture today. On the walls, just touching up. Got rid of the popcorn on the ceiling. So it's about wrapped up and ready. AC's blowing cool, and everything's looking good. So I guess one thing I haven't talked about lately, and I'm hoping to get in a little bit more of a classroom type setting, or talk more about contracts and things. But I think when it breaks down to it, really the most important thing is like I always say, is get to know values. Get to know values in your neighborhood. Get to know values. I like to, I've got like home, and then I've got my work, and then I've got everywhere in between that I drive by. So I'm very aware of the properties that I drive by. If there's any little changes, if I see, business goes out of business, then I think, hey, there's an opportunity. There's a building here that's going to have a vacancy. And, a lot of times vacancies are what guys like me, when we have a vacancy, we think, hey, now this is an opportunity to sell our property. And so a lot of times, if I see a vacancy, then, I'm the first one to call and say, hey, what's up? You want to sell this thing? And if it's a business, for sure I do that, or even if it's, sometimes a house. But so look out for people that are moving out and that sort of thing. And other changes, of course, are if a property's looking dilapidated, or like I say, I drove by one not too long ago, and I looked over, and the blinds were all tore up, really tore up at one particular window. And my impression was, because I've seen it before, is people are climbing in and out of that lower window, using it like a door on the house. So kind of an unruly environment to me. So it's a good sign that the landlord might have some fatigue. Other things, I look for, is I let people know that I'm a buyer. Everybody kind of knows I am. All my tenants, of course, know I am. And sometimes it's my tenants that tip me off. In fact, I got a tenant, Kim, and I gave her a $5,000 bird dog fee, and she actually just bought her own home several miles from here. I mean, a couple hundred miles from here. But maybe we'll take a ride out there and look at what she got too. But it's good to network with people, and it's good for people to know that you're a buyer. And of course, even if let's just say you haven't gotten any real estate yet, you're starting small, or maybe you're not comfortable. I always try to tell people, buying and selling real estate is no different than buying and selling cars to me. You still got to deal with, you got to go down to the DMV, Department of Motor Vehicles, and you get the title transferred. Well, that's the equivalent of going to the title company for me and having to get the title transferred. So it's nothing to be intimidated by, and it's again, a lot of people think things are much more difficult than they are, but once you get in and roll, and you realize, oh shoot, there's nothing to this. And that's really how real estate is. I think there's a lot of misconceptions, and people are predisposed to thinking that there's certain risks and things that just aren't there. What's the real advantage of real estate is that you have the opportunity to tie up such a large asset with so very little money in comparison to the asset itself, and then you get the benefit of that asset's appreciation over the years. But also, just on the sale itself, like I say, everything I buy, it's got to be about 30% under market at least. If it's like a $1 million+ building, then yeah, I look for 30%. If it's a house, if it's a $100,000 or $2,000, I still look for 30%, but minimum. But I'm always gearing towards a little bit bigger deals now. Like the little house deal was extraordinarily profitable. I know it's going to be. It was just too good a deal. But those don't always happen. But anything half as good is great. So So, I can't emphasize enough that you have to act quickly. You just have to act quickly. And I've said it before, I'll never forget the old lady that offered to sell me a beach house that was worth about $450,000 or more. She said she'd take $250 and she'd owner carried it, $50,000 down, and she was just matter of fact. But I hadn't been educated enough on the area. I was looking at it, I thought, man, that seems like a really great deal, and I didn't move fast enough. And then I let too much time go by. I called her back when I figured out, man, this thing's a really good deal. And she said, and I'll never forget, she said, "Oh no," she goes, "he who hesitates gets left at the starting gate." And I'm pretty sure that's exactly what she said. Anyways, I never forgot it. I still hear her voice. And then she went on to tell me that a real estate agent had gotten a hold of her about a week after she didn't hear from me, and he told her, he said, "Look, if I can't sell this house for $420,000, he said, I'll just buy it myself." And I don't know what happened, but I know that the house was gone, and I never got it, and I could have had it. So, but the other good thing about missing deals like that is that you know that you got that close to a deal. And believe me, I've lost a lot of deals. I've missed a lot of deals by that much. And as upsetting as it can be at times, I am most heartened that I got that close. And believe me, I make a lot of good deals. I mean, that's how all my wealth is pretty much from good deals up until this point. And so I know that when you look, you're going to find them. A lot of times you're looking and you're just, nothing. And nothing's, getting a great deal is more the norm. And then all of a sudden, bam, it just hits you. All of a sudden there's, wow, great, I'll take it. But of course, the fact that I'm always looking is what makes me so much sharper than most everybody else. So I'm very much aware of, where in the heck? I'm very much aware of where the deals are. I am on the wrong road. I made a wrong turn. Oh, what did I do? I have got myself lost. I thought I was heading the right direction, and I know now that I am not. So that's what I get for talking and not paying attention to the road. So now I'm heading back in another direction. Anyways, so this is going to be a longer video now. So anyhow, back to my point, just jumping on things when they come available. And the only way you can really act fast is to have a good knowledge base. And the way you have a good knowledge base is you just look at everything, in your neighborhood and near your work, and then concentrate on looking for properties in those areas. And as you step out and get a little bit further away, there might be some minor changes in values, but you'll still have that knowledge base of what a 3-bedroom bath, or what a building is worth, or an industrial building, and different things like that. And because you'll have that knowledge, it'll be a little quicker and easier for you to jump and make a decision, even if you start to step out a little bit. Like on this lake house, I said I'd take it over the phone just because I thought, it isn't that far away. It's a no-brainer. It's a great deal. And then when I got there, it was very apparent that, wow, this is definitely something I got to jump on immediately. So what I was going to say is take advantage of the deals when they come in front of you, but of course you have to know it's a deal when you see it. Again, just getting educated, moving on stuff is the best way. Now let's talk about a little bit about contracts. Now, a contract can be as simple as something you just write up on a plain piece of paper, and probably most of the deals I've bought have been that way. But if you can get like just kind of maybe I'll make a contract for you guys someday that's very simple. I just make it in Word. But it's what I would use. It doesn't cover every detail. Of course, there's never going to be an agent involved when I'm buying, so I don't have to have all that, tons of legalese in there that is to cover their asses, if things go wrong. And I understand it. It's a litigious world. They got to have all that. But if you're just dealing direct with the buyer, you don't need any of that. So, and the basics on that, and I have it in another video, basically your name, their name, and then, just basically you split the title fees, as far as a title policy, never buy without a title policy. You got to have a title policy. If you can get them to pay for it, great. But a lot of times, just to make things smooth and easy, you just say that you'll split everything. You'll split escrow and title fees. I think that makes everybody feel good. Okay, yeah, everybody understands. We'll just split it 50-50. Sounds fair. So that's probably what I would recommend you do most of all when you're coming up with the terms and the price. You're going to buy it for this. Of course, the price that you're going to buy it for should be a very good deal. And so it's not a big deal to simply agree to split the other fees. And man, I am so far off track of where I was driving. This is terrible. I was looking around, I'm thinking, this just doesn't look familiar. And it wasn't. So what else can we talk about? Think about some of the questions I've had lately. Oh, somebody was asking me about trailer parks. What I know about trailer parks. Well, I know a couple people that own them. I don't own any. I lived in one when I was younger, and it was a lot of fun actually. But what I was going to say about trailer parks is that it can be a really lucrative deal. You own the trailer park, you're getting money on the space. When I was a kid, parents, get divorced. My parents got divorced, and that was their story. But a lot of times actually my dad went to the trailer park and lived in a trailer. Mom had a house, but typically what I'd see is in the trailer park is the mother and the kids would go live in a trailer park, and then the father would go rent a room from one of his buddies that was single. And that's kind of how the divorces were back in the desert where I lived when I was younger. And so with the trailer park, so I knew when I was sitting in there, I knew that the manager of the trailer park seemed like he owned quite a few trailers within the park. And of course, you think about the position you're in. If somebody says, hey, we're moving, we got to move, or a job takes them somewhere else, and they just do a fire sale on their trailer. And so I could see there'd be a lot of opportunities for somebody to buy up trailers cheap. And so you get a trailer cheap, it's sitting there, and now you're going to get rent on the space, and additionally you're going to get rent on the trailer. In fact, this has been about 6-7 years ago. Somebody told me they were actually moving specifically to California at that time to take advantage of the HUD deals that were going, which they say HUD would pay over $1,000 a month to rent a trailer in a trailer park. So they figured out that they could spend 50-60 grand on a trailer and pay $100 a month for their space, and anyhow